All right, everybody, I see that it is 1:30 p.m. This is Paul Ura. I'm the warning coordination meteorologist here at the National Weather Service Austin, San Antonio, Texas office. What we're about to give is a weather briefing primarily just for South Central Texas and our jurisdiction. Several of the other offices, including, I believe, Houston and Corpus Christi office, and maybe even South Texas, Brownsville, are going to be doing their own sort of conference calls. I think most of them are a little bit later than ours, so but primarily we're going to be concentrating on this section of Texas right here in the middle. So one of the key messages about this event right now is that there is going to be a strong Arctic cold front pushing through the area late this afternoon into this evening. It is going to bring some Arctic air, which is going to be much colder, and those colder temperatures are going to last through Thursday and lag a little bit, obviously, into Friday as well. One of the new kind of things that just happened was that we currently did have a winter storm watch up that was issued overnight. We have kind of replaced that with a winter weather advisory that is now in effect from 3 a.m. tonight, Thursday morning, all the way through 6 a.m. Friday morning for a wintry mix, as we'll call it, over South Central Texas. The activity, meaning the mixed precipitation, the frozen precipitation, should start to arrive across the far western area, the Rio Grande Plains, basically north of the Del Rio and Edwards Plateau area, and the hill country Thursday morning, so tomorrow morning, within a gradual eastward and southward progression Thursday afternoon into then early Friday morning. This is going to be one of those kind of rare instances to where the further you go north, the less likelihood you are probably going to be getting some ice. So our higher chances of precipitation are actually going to be further south, center, and then south. Any light accumulation, any light ice accumulation is probably going to be occurring across that southern Edwards Plateau, the hill country counties, to near the I-35 corridor from basically San Antonio north to near Austin. The big caveat in all of this is that a heavier band of precipitation may set up somewhere. So while most areas will probably see trace amounts or very light amounts of winter precipitation, there may be a small area kind of in along maybe a west to east sort of oriented band or southwest to northeast oriented band where we could get some isolated higher totals. And that's going to be obviously kind of the big question as to where is that band going to set up. And we honestly won't know that until probably tomorrow. With all that precipitation, there are going to be some slippery spots, especially on the bridges and overpasses. Most of the roads, I'll say that again with a caveat, most of the roads should be passable. It's been pretty warm, the ground is pretty warm, but obviously all those elevated surfaces, the flyovers, all the things that ice over first are going to be the main issue. And of course, there's still a lot of uncertainty in the forecast, and the overall forecast confidence has gone up a little bit, but it's still only moderate at this time. So here's just a kind of example of kind of what the current weather is showing. The big cold air mass is over southern Canada into the northern plains of the United States. The cold front is currently draped through Oklahoma and just now making its way into north central Texas. And so this is the front that's going to be advancing through the rest of our region later tonight. These are just kind of showing the current temperatures across the United States, kind of showing how cold air this is. We're talking about Arctic air across the northern plains where it's below zero right now. Of course, you put the wind chills onto that and it's way colder than this. So this is an Arctic front. You kind of hear us talking about the importance of the Arctic fronts. And so that's what's coming. So what's going to happen tomorrow? Well, the front's going to come through tonight. It will turn much colder. And so this is a map kind of showing the high temperatures for tomorrow. So you can see pretty much everybody is going to be in the 30s, maybe high temperatures only along the lower 40s along the Rio Grande. But for the most part, everybody's going to stay very cold tomorrow. Now, these are high temperatures. Again, there's going to be some spots in here where temperatures are kind of dropping below freezing in several spots. We just don't know exactly where those are going to be. A lot of times what we kind of see during these winter events is that as the precipitation falls, the temperatures fall also due to some of the dry air and evaporative cooling, etc. So there are going to be some spots that drop below freezing, and that, of course, is going to be some of the areas where we're going to be most concerned, especially by mid to late afternoon, as to where some of the ice could kind of build up. As we kind of get into then Friday morning, this is probably going to be some of our coldest temperatures. Notice we have near 20 degrees out in the hill country, pretty much mid to upper 20s elsewhere. So it's going to be a good hard freeze across all of South Central Texas on Friday morning. One thing that is going to be an impact as well is going to be the wind chill. We'll have kind of this is a map that kind of shows the coldest wind chills over the next, let's say, 36 hours. So definitely wind chills into the teens, into the hill country, I-35 corridor, and basically lower to middle 20s elsewhere. Some of the coldest wind chills will actually be Thursday morning, so tomorrow morning, as well as early Friday morning. Those will be the coldest wind chills. We're not talking about wind chills like we got back February of last year. Okay, this is definitely a cold air mass, but it's something that we commonly will get about once or twice per year. So it's nothing, I would say, extreme at this point, but obviously everything that happened from last February has got everybody obviously concerned with any sort of cold mass, and rightfully so, that comes through the area. So this is the map that kind of shows all the counties in South Central Texas that are currently under now a winter weather advisory. We typically issue these winter weather advisories when we're talking about fairly minimal amounts of ice that would have minimal overall travel impacts. Now, we are probably going to have, again, some roads that are heavy with overpasses and bridges that may accumulate ice. TxDOT may have to go out there and shut them down, depending on who kind of shuts down roads or at least puts up barricades, that sort of thing. So expect that sort of road issue probably tomorrow at some point. We have the increasing threats up here, where overall the ice threat will remain fairly low. The travel impacts, again, we think will be fairly low. And at this time, because of the minimal effects of ice that is expected to fall, the power outages are expected to be kind of a low threat right now as well. Overall precipitation amounts, with the freezing rain and drizzle that very often comes when a disturbance like we're getting tomorrow, a disturbance will come across the region combined with this Arctic air mass, basically a light glaze to a few hundredths of an inch. It doesn't take a lot here to make those bridges and overpasses slick, impassable, etc. So again, for most of the common roads, we should be able to handle that amount with fairly minimal impacts, but the bridges and stuff are a totally different question. When it comes now to sleet and snow, what's going to be happening as the disturbance comes across tomorrow and we start to get colder in the middle part of the atmosphere, we may get some changeover to some sleet and some snow showers. Again, minor accumulations. I'd be surprised if we even see a dusting in some areas, but it's not unheard of. When we talked earlier, we kind of talked about this possible band of precipitation that kind of sets up. That's going to be kind of our main concern. If a heavier band of precipitation does come across and sets up, that's where we could get almost some heavier accumulations of sleet. And even if it is 33 to 35 degrees somewhere, if it sleets enough and quick enough, you could get that accumulating on the roads and it could become slick very, very quickly as it is trying to melt. But again, we could also get some temperatures, spotty areas, especially around South Central Texas, that goes below freezing for a bit, that adds to some of that minor ice sort of problem. So the summary for all of this is going to be kind of this. So on the far left there, the winter precipitation amounts, confidence is pretty low right now exactly where everything is going to fall. Most of the new models that are coming in do show the heavier accumulation of precipitation actually be further south, basically San Antonio area kind of southward. So that's where the highest chances of precipitation actually are. But again, as of right now, a glaze up to just a few hundredths of an inch possible, with again some minor sleet or snow accumulations. We really can't pinpoint any of this until we actually start seeing that come up on the radar screen, or especially some of our mesoscale sort of models that we use. Tomorrow morning, we'll kind of get higher confidence to maybe where some of that heavier band will set up. We know it's going to be cold. Temperatures and wind chill will actually be, we have high confidence in that. It's going to be one of our coldest air masses so far this year. Wind chills well into the 20s, and like I said, even teens. The impacts still to be seen, to be honest. It depends where those bands of precipitation develop, what the temperatures are like, but we're pretty confident somewhere we're probably going to get a little bit of ice. It just depends on how bad and how much And that's why our confidence is kind of low on the overall impacts at this point. And also why we went from the winter storm watch down to the winter weather advisory. And then finally, with the timing, again, come early morning or come the morning hours, we'll start to kind of see some of that precipitation show up on radar way out west in the Western Hill Country, the Edwards Plateau out there by Del Rio, Edwards County. And then that will eventually kind of make its way into the center part of South Central Texas, and then also kind of shift southward as the day progresses. The one thing I'll say too is that if it remains cold everywhere and we do get some light glazes of some ice or some patches of ice in some places, just know that that ice may still be around all the way into Friday morning because the temperatures are going to be so cold. So we're going to have a good 36 hours here at least the potential of getting some ice in the area. This is not one of our worst case scenario ice storms. It's not setting up like this. This overall sort of scenario is setting up like something we get almost every winter. Very tough to forecast, very tough to pinpoint exactly where all the ice is going to form. So stay close to your phone, look for the updated forecast. We'll be sending out some updated situation reports, not only this afternoon, but then also tomorrow morning. And again, we're also going to have one of these briefings tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 p.m. This link that you used will also work again for tomorrow. So with that, what I'm going to do, the easiest way with so many people on the conference call, I can't open up all the mics, but if you would like to type in the questions, I will kind of go through there. And the first one comes from James. Do we know approximately what time we can expect the wind shift to take place in Bastrop County? James, I'll get back to you with that, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, our early briefings had it coming through South Central Texas somewhere between like that 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. range. But I will call you back and give you an exact timing of what we think the wind shift will be in Bastrop, because yes, I understand how important the wind direction is right now out in Bastrop County with the fire that you're still fighting out there. From Donovan, ice Friday morning. Possible. That's the easiest thing I can say. It is possible. It is not a definite. A lot will depend on what happens in the next 24 hours. If we scoot by with basically just getting a little bit of something and everything kind of shifts further south, then there may be some patches out there. But again, as of right now, it's too tough to call exactly what is going to be like Friday morning. It just will. We won't know until the precipitation starts to fall, how heavy it is, and in fact, how cold it actually gets. So kind of stay tuned for that, Donovan. Will you email this presentation out to the group? The answer is yes. We plan on converting this over to a PDF, and we'll blast it out to our entire alert group, which is over 1,500 folks. We'll also be likely posting it on our Twitter page, and also we're going to try to get it up on our web page as well. So that will go out there. Next question: do we expect precipitation to begin? When do we precipitation to begin in San Antonio? Could be as early as, I would say, maybe mid to late morning in San Antonio. I would say I'm most confident in saying that probably the afternoon hours is when we would be seeing the majority of the precipitation, if in fact it does start to form and it does start to fall. So possible mid to late morning. More likely precipitation in the San Antonio area would probably be more into the afternoon, evening hours, later part of the day, if you will. Let's see, Friday high in New Braunfels area in the 20s. Most likely the high on Friday is going to be well into probably the 40s, I believe. I'll have to double check the forecast, but I believe the high on Fridays will actually be kind of above freezing. So any sort of ice that does fall on Thursday and maybe sticks around Thursday night into early Friday morning should be melting off already as soon as the sun comes up and we start to warm above freezing on Friday. So Friday doesn't look to be too bad at all. Temperatures returning to normal from Scott. Scott, that's a loaded question. I guess it depends on what you consider normal. But I know I've been focused on this one. I'll get back with you because I know we're still tweaking the forecast for the extended portion right now. So I'll get back with you with that. Is there a place to view smoke plumes from Bastrop for counties? That's from Egan. I will get back with you on that, Egan. We've been developing some high split runs and stuff and we can do that internally. It's nothing that's typically done publicly. So there's not really a nice public website that we would, take people to. But if you're worried about smoke kind of headed your way out there in Lavaca County, I can give you a ring and we can talk about that to kind of see what the wind directions and if any of that smoke would kind of head your way. Let's see. From James, we're planning a 10 a.m. call for San Antonio. Do you think any information we get at 10 a.m. will change at your 1:30 call? It could be. A lot can happen between 10 a.m. and 1:30. I'm hoping that the 1:30 p.m. call tomorrow is more of like, okay, this is what has happened so far. This is what the models are showing for the next couple of hours. And I'm hoping I'm going to say we skirted this whole event, but I honestly don't have enough confidence to say that right now. But I would say you can still have your 10 a.m. call, James, there in San Antonio. We'll be on it, and we'll try to give you as much information as possible. Especially these briefings are very helpful for all those counties that don't do their own conference calls and sometimes struggle to maybe get some very specific information for them. Can you repeat the impacts for Austin and Travis County? Juan, yeah, up there. The Austin area is going to be on the far northern skirt, I think, of most of the activity. We're still going to be carrying, I think, at least a 20 or 30% chance for tomorrow of possibly a mix of freezing rain, drizzle, sleet, or snow. So you're not out of the woods, but most of the models have been trending a little bit over central and southern part of our jurisdiction. So again, I think your main impacts across your region of Austin, Travis County would still primarily, if it does occur, primarily be impacting those overpasses, which I know is a huge impact, right? It is. It's a travel nightmare. But overall, we're thinking most of the precipitation will be Austin or southward. So not looking too bad right now for Austin, just totally can't count you out of the woods right now. Hopefully that answers that one. So I feel it looks like I got through most of the questions right now. I've got a couple of follow-ups with a few of you. But again, thank you guys for listening in. And we hope to get through this without much impact. But as you know, the winter weather forecasting can be very, very iffy sometimes. And it's hard to get specific when we're talking about such massively light amounts of precipitation. It doesn't take much of a little bit of 30 minutes worth of drizzle at 33 degrees or 31 degrees to cause some issues somewhere. So with that, we're going to make some slides. We'll send it out to everybody, and take care, be safe. Check the forecast often, because if we do have to upgrade any of those advisories to warnings, that would typically happen. Probably tomorrow at some point if we see something on radar that looks more impactful than what we just discussed. So with that, we will see you guys, at least on this webinar tomorrow, and at other conference calls that you guys have got scheduled. So thank you guys so much, and take care.